What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the potential of next season being Chapter 4, Season 1, and us getting a new Fortnite map next season. If you guys do enjoy this video, find it informative or entertaining, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below, do you want a new chapter next season? Do you want next season to be Chapter 4, Season 1 with a brand new map? Or would you rather have Chapter 3, Season 5 with this map being changed up a bit? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm interested to see what you guys think of that one. So one of the main reasons why people think we may be getting an X map last season is because of some leaks that came out last season regarding Epic working on a new map. So each Fortnite map is named after a Greek god. There's Athena, Apollo, and Artemis. But for season 23, Epic, which would be next season, Epic was working on a map called Asteria. And this is a different Greek god than any of the previous maps were named after. And each time there's been a new name for the map, there's been a new map, if that makes any sense. If they were working on a new version of this map, it would be called Artemis still, but since it's called Asteria, they're likely working on a new map for next season. So that's one piece of evidence. You can, disregard that or whatever. The next thing that indicates or kind of makes a lot of people think that we might be getting a new map next season or a new chapter next season is that the downtime has been leaked to be long. So this is weird, but in the Battle Pass, it says that this season ends December 3rd, but Tom Henderson, a notable leaker within the gaming community and has a lot of inside sources and gets a lot of things right, even when people think it's wrong and it's kind of out of the blue, much earlier than a lot of other leakers. Tom Henderson has said that the next season is going to start December 5th. So if this season ends on the 3rd and next season starts on the 5th, that means we probably have a day or two of downtime. And any time that we've had those really prolonged downtimes, like a day plus, has been when we end up getting a new chapter, going from chapter 1 to chapter 2, and then once again from chapter 2 to chapter 3, there was a day or more of downtime in between. Usually if it's just season to season, there's only like 12 hours or so, or a little less than that sometimes. But really long downtime is another indication of maybe a new chapter. The next piece of evidence is that the progression for this season is very similar to Chapter 2, Season 8, which was the end of Chapter 2. With Chapter 2, Season 8, we had the Cube Queen arriving on the map and taking over the map with cubes, and cubes spread across the map and move towards the center of it. And then with this season, we have the Herald arriving on the map and then taking over the map with the Chrome. Lots of POIs have been consumed by the Chrome. Some of the POIs have begun floating using hot air balloons. But this map is being taken over by the Chrome. And not only is this a pretty drastic change and there's not really a way to go back from this, what is going to happen next season? Is all the Chrome just going to be gone and everything is going to be back to normal? Or is everything still going to be Chrome and everything still going to be floating? The way the storyline has been progressing for this chapter, it seems like this is a pretty drastic change, and something ridiculous would have to happen to undo all of this for next season, So not only is the setup very similar to Chapter 2, Season 8, which was the end of Chapter 2, it's also just such a drastic change that almost something cataclysmic has to happen at the end of the season for it to make any sense. The next thing is going to be the Nothing, which is kind of the main antagonist for all of the Fortnite storyline, which has been mentioned during the Black Hole event, and then also with the Cube Queen arriving on the map in Chapter 2. The Nothing was mentioned at both times, and people didn't really know what this was up until recently, but if you do the Bites quests, you're taking orders essentially from the Nothing as you do those missions, and as you're talking to the TV, the Nothing is the person giving those missions. The Herald's cosmetics, if you look at the description for them, all mention the Nothing. And then for the Fortnitemares cosmetics, if you look at those, they all mention the End, if I understand correctly, or if I remember correctly. So the Herald and Bites are working with the Nothing to bring that about to the island in any way, shape, or form. And then the End is being mentioned in Fortnitemares, and the End is always the title of the final event of a chapter. So the final event of Chapter 1 was called the End, the final event of Chapter 2 was called the End. So the fact that the Nothing and the End are already being mentioned in this season is kind of an indication that this might be the end of the chapter. That might seem dumb, who cares about the descriptions of cosmetics, but this same thing happened in Chapter 2, where in the Battle Pass they released a clock emote which had some sort of description about being out of time. And then there was also a page turner emote added to the item shop in Chapter 2, Season 8. And the description of that was it's almost time for a new chapter. So it was really on the nose, but it turned out to be true. So this isn't the first time that the descriptions for cosmetics have actually came to fruition. Another thing has just been animals leaving the island. So the boars, the chickens, well, now there's zombie chickens, but like the boars, the chickens, the frogs, and the crows are all gone from the island. And they like, apparently, I saw this on Twitter, they took the boats to leave the island. So that's why the boats are gone. All the animals left the island with the boats. The runways that are being set on the map with the planes are for the loopers to leave the island. So not only is the island getting consumed by Chrome and essentially destroyed, all living life is trying to leave the island, which would, be another indication that this might be our final season on this island. So that's basically all the evidence we have for Chapter 4 being a thing. Maybe that adds up to something, maybe it doesn't. Now I'm going to talk about what I think about that. So personally, I think having chapters be shorter or be like a year long on average would be much better for the game. I think no matter how good or bad a chapter is or how good or bad a map is, after a while it gets stagnant. And with Chapter 1, they made very drastic map changes season to season with entire corners of the map changing, and then even other like random POIs changing throughout the course of the season. Like Season 5, for example, the entire bottom right corner of the map changed from the swamp to the desert. Anarchy Acres was replaced by Lazy Links, and then like midway through the season, Tomato Town was replaced by Tomato Temple, and I believe Dusty Divot also got overgrown that season. So there was so many changes to the map throughout that season, and it wasn't just like the changes we have this season where like, oh, this POI is now floating or this POI is now Chrome, but it's still essentially the same POI, The POIs were changing from like completely different things to completely different things, and that really kept the map fresh. Whereas we have had like a few map changes in Chapter 3. We've had a good amount of map changes, but all in all, most of the POIs are still the same POI, It doesn't seem like they do as drastic map changes in Chapter 2 or Chapter 3 as they did in Chapter 1, and I feel like those drastic map changes is what made Chapter 1's map stay fresh. I know in Chapter 2, people were complaining about that map the entire time, and so I think having chapters end shorter would kind of reduce this. By the time you get tired or burnt out of a map, there's probably only like a few months or so left until the new one, and then you kind of have that to look forward to and that to build hype. But if you're burnt out on the map halfway through a year, and there's still a year and a half until you get a new one, I feel like those players are going to be way more encouraged to quit the game or find something else to play, just because the momentum just isn't there as much. You take an entire chapter and compress it into a year rather than dragging it out over 2 years. I feel like it's obvious that the year-long chapters are going to be much more like densely packed content, if that makes any sense. So I think it would help keep the game fresh. It would help the game like have something to look forward to all the time. Call of Duty, there's a COD cycle. I'll have it on screen now. People meme Call of Duty for having yearly release, and I know they are going away from that now. But as a player, I always liked the yearly release cycle for COD because when the game comes out, you're excited, you get to play it. And then by the time you're tired of it, the hype is building for the next one. You look forward for that to come out. You get excited about that coming out. It comes out, you play it, and then that cycle just repeats itself year after year after year. And people outside the COD community hated on the yearly release cycle, but as a player, I thought it was really good because there was almost always something to look forward to in the game. By the time you got tired of a game, the new one was right around the corner, and then that's where like kind of your interest or excitement went. So I think yearly chapters would be good for Fortnite, and if they aren't going to make as drastic of map changes, I think yearly is going to be a good format. And even with drastic map changes, people kind of ignore this now because Chapter 1 is looked at as perfect, and I like Chapter 1 more than the other chapters. But even like Season 7 onward, Season 8, 9, 10, people were wanting a new map in Chapter 1. Like, people don't want to acknowledge that now because people act like that map was perfect. But people were tired of that map, and people wanted a new one. And I think especially when Apex was getting new maps, people were complaining about, like, why does this game that just came out this year get multiple maps, and we've only had one the entire time? So I definitely think it's possible we'll see a new map next season. Maybe it's Chapter 4. Maybe it's still Chapter 3, but we just get a new map kind of inserted in the middle of that. But I think like the Chrome spreading across the map is so drastic that either like some sort of time travel or some sort of island shift almost has to occur for this to make any sense. And we are only a month away from this happening. This season is relatively close to the end. We only have like 40 days or so left. And so things are probably going to start heating up a lot after Fortnitemares, and we're going to get closer and closer and closer to the eventual conclusion of this season and probably the chapter. But let me know what you guys think of that down in the comments below. Do you guys think next season will be Chapter 4 Season 1? And regardless if you think it will be or not, which would you prefer? Do you want a new map next season, or would you rather just have a few map changes and then stick with this map? I feel like almost always everybody would rather have a new map, and the main kind of disagreement people have with Chapter 4 coming so soon It's just that the other 2 chapters were 2 years long, but I think Epic wouldn't be against switching it up if it would make the game better, and I think this would help the longevity of the game and just like the excitement and momentum within the community. But let me know what you think down in the comments below, what you think is going to happen and what you want to happen. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.